Okay, so let's review. So we know the Gemara outlines that there's this halacha called min Kenaf, and there's a question of whether it means just material, and then we'll get back to this question of whether you can only make a beged out of wool, out of linen, other things. We'll get back to that in a little bit. We saw that there is this position. Rashi has it. Rambam seems to have it, though that's a bit of a question. The Mari Abuav challenges this. That min Kenaf means that you need to have the beged to be the same color as the beged. The lavan has to be the same. Right, the lavan has to be the same color as the beged. And we argue that maybe that's because they believe that both of these halachot seem to be based on the fact, whether you think it's about the material, the color, this desire to integrate the tzitzit to the beged, right? By arguing that, look, the tzitzit are defined as the corners of the beged, the tassels, extensions of the beged, and therefore they have to be the same. Material makes a lot of sense. Color, yesh ladun, because on the one hand you might say, well, color, things can be different colors, contrasting colors, and etc. Maybe the argument, at least I suggested, an argument of why you would think that color has to be the same as the beged is because since we know already from the psukim that the visuals, the color,
the whole thing is based on color.
The whole reminder is based on color. Color is integral to the tzitzis halacha. Maybe that's where you would get the notion that once you know two things, one is that the tzitzit have to be integrated, and two is that colors matter, that's where you get this notion that the color has to be the same. And we saw that that's the Shin Rashi. Rambam, maybe that's Beis Yosef thinks that's what Rambam means, Mari Buav doesn't. But the Beis Yosef knows the other Rishonim explicitly say you don't need it. The Rashba, for example, in Shulchan Aruch says Yesh Omrim that you have to do it, and therefore people are machmir to do it. Fine. The problem is the Ramah, and this is what we were up to. The Ramah is a very bizarre shita because we have two shitot. Either it has to be the same color, or it doesn't have to be the same color. What's the Ramah's unique shita?
Ashkenazim only wear white.
Exactly. Well,
only malachim to have white strings.
The Ramah says that the minhag Ashkenaz is only have white strings. Now, to be machmir,
the beged is colored.
Correct. Now, you can be machmir, and that we'll see that some of the poskim say you should be machmir and only have a white beged. But where does the Ramah get this notion? Because according to all the other shitot, lavan means, what does lavan mean? No. Lavan means not chelet. Lavan means that which you're not chayiv in chelet. So either you think it has to be the same color as the beged, or you think it doesn't have to be.
What does the Ramah say?
But the Ramah says it has to be white. White. Why white? So where does the Ramah get the notion, and this is what we have to figure out today, where does the Ramah get the notion that lavan is not just non-chelet, but it's dafka white, even, presumably, if the beged is not white. Now again, you can be yotzei both. You can be yotzei having white and being yotzei min Kenaf according to Rashi by wearing only a white beged, which is indeed where the minhag comes from. But why fundamentally does the Ramah think that the word lavan means white and not just that which isn't colored, right? Or not colored chelet, but which is what the Rov Rishonim said? Where would he get this notion? So where do you think? Right? What might have driven the Ramah to believe this?
I mean, it could be that's what they had access.
It could be that.
It's in the Torah as white.
Come on,
to avoid controversy.
No, it wouldn't avoid controversy. It only avoids controversy if you dafka wear white.
No, if you make the minhag that you wear white.
No, if you make the minhag that you only wear a white beged and white tzitzis, but that's not my question. Is why does the Ramah think that the tzitzis, right now the beged, the tzitziot, have to be only white? Where do you get, right? We've seen all the other Rishonim until now assume not that.
Maybe
where does the Ramah get it from?
He interprets Lavan literally.
Where does he get it? But give me a proof, because everyone else didn't have that problem. Everyone else said Lavan means not chelet. What would drive the Ramah? He doesn't just make it up. Where would it come from? Come on.
There has to be another opinion.
Where would it come from?
It would come from the Mishnah Berurah.
No, it wouldn't. Look at number 6.
6.
I wasn't asking you to guess. I gave you some clues as to why he might because the Ramah clearly thinks the word lavan means white and not non-chela. But where would he get that from? So here's a few possibilities of what might have driven the Ramah. So on Mem Gimel Amud Beis, The Gemara says.
Yeah.
Got it? Like 10 lines down. 3, 6, 11 lines down. Got it? The Gemara is going through a series of drashot, and the Gemara says, "V'Rabbanan."
Very isam also.
Good. Rabbanan, hi, read them. My Avdilay, read it.
Very isam also. My Avdilay mi by.
What does that mean? I mean, what do the Rabbanan do with this drasha read them? Right? The Gemara is in the middle of a series of drashot. So what does it do? How do they interpret it?
The Tani. Verisam also was kartem ra'a mitzvah zu zecher.
Uzechor mitzvah acheret. See this mitzvah and
remember it.
Remember another mitzvah. Hatluyaba. Remember another mitzvah which depends on it, which is
Ve'ezu zu kriya shema.
What mitzvah is that? Shema. Ditnan.
Ditnan me imse korin es shema be shachris me sicher ben
Mishayakir
ben tcheles alav.
What does that mean?
While looking at
so what is the zman if kriyash? Right? What is the zman? The earliest that you can say kriyash shema? What's the halacha?
When you could tell the color of meat.
Mishayakir ben tchelet lavan. It's what's called in the Gemara in Mishnah. In brachos, exactly. From when you can distinguish between
blue and white.
Blue and white. Blue and white. So the Rav makes this argument that perhaps what drove the Ramah is, according to everybody else, that lavan just means not tchelet. So how could it be that there's a fundamental category called the zman of kriyat shema, that the time for kriyat shema is the time at which you can distinguish between the white and blue in your tzitzit. If white isn't a chalos, to use Lamdish terminology, right? Meaning, if white is just non-blue, then how can you have a time that depends on when I can tell the difference between tchelet and lavan? Because I can tell the difference between tchelet and lavan, I mean white and blue, naniach at, right, with 10% light. But in order for me to tell the difference between, let's say, blue and purple, or blue and black, or blue and green, or blue and... I need more light than that. But if you think that lavan is in a category, meaning lavan just means non-tchelet, then how could you create a halachic category called the time in which I can distinguish between tchelet and lavan if lavan is in a chalos, if lavan is in a status of actual white? So the Rav argues that perhaps what drove the Ramah, right, is that everybody else thinks lavan just means non-tchelet. But there's this indication from the halacha of kriyat shema that white is an independent status, not a non-status, not a non-color, but an actual positive obligation of lavan, of white, mamish.
How was he the only one that, what else did the rest of them say about the Gemara?
So everyone else must just say, look, rov hazman, it's white, and therefore it's just that's normally a good indicator. You're right, sometimes you wouldn't have it, but or something like that. But what?
I'm just getting some more.
Okay. But that might, because fundamentally, what's the machloket, the Ramah and everybody else? The machloket, the Ramah and everybody else is white a status of white, or simply a negative definition, meaning that which is not tchelet? Bein Rashi, Rambam, Rashba, all the Rishonim we've seen have assumed that lavan just means non-tchelet. But according to but there is this very plausible read of the Gemara in Gimel, which is that it's a status, a positive status, not a negative status, but a positive status of white. Similarly, if you look at the Yerushalmi in number 7, look at the Yerushalmi. This is in Bracha. This is on the Mishiyakir. Me'ematay korin et shma b'shacharit Mishiyakir ben tchelet lavan. What's the zman of shacharit, of shma in the morning? So we can distinguish between tchelet and lavan. Rabbi Elazar Omer ben tchelet lekarti. Rabbi Elazar had said it's between the tchelet and green. And then the lechatchila zman, at least, is ad honei tzachama. This shita, that's actually when you have to say it. You have to say it before hanetz. At this point, I assume you've been in Migdal long enough that you know that sunrise in halacha is hanetz, not netz. Right? It's not the nates, it's hanetz.
Oh, the best comment we heard last week. Oh, he had the opportunity of davening hanetz with the nates.
Okay, but why is it hanetz? No, alot shachar is dawn. Alot shachar is dawn, but it's. I'm sure you've heard this right? When people say nates, right? Ginsburg will correct them and say hanetz. Why?
That's why the birds.
No, because not the nates. Hanetz is like from the word in Shir Shirim, hey natsu arimonim. It's when things start to bloom. It's a phrase. The whole hanetz, that is the word. It's not the nates, it's hanetz. Right? The sun is coming into what?
People say Neitzachama.
But it's wrong. It's hanetz. Yes, because it's not nates. It's not the Neitzachama. It's hanetz when the sun is right. Just like hey natsu arimonim.
The word has a hey. It's not a prefix.
Correct. It's not a. It's part of the verb. Right? Or the whatever, not verb, but it's verb form. Anyways, yes. In Einichu Arimonim, it's a verb form. Rishu Omer at Shalosh Sha'ot. Shkein derech b'nei melachim la'amod b'shalosh sha'ot. And this is the way we paskin, that you have until 3 hours. Hakori mikan ve'elach lo yifsid ka'adam shekorei b'torah. This is all the Mishnah. So then the Gemara and the Yerushalmi says, Keini matnitin bein chelet sheba li'lavan sheba. It doesn't just mean the time that you can tell the difference between tchelet and lavan. What does it mean? The time when you can tell the difference of tchelet sheba ulavan sheba, which means not white and blue generally, but
The one that you have?
no, tchelet sheba, in it, the white in the tzitzit and the blue in the tzitzit. Uma ta'amon derabanan
Does that mean a separate?
uritem oto. Mina samuchlo. You shall see it from that which is next to it. Meaning, in the Yerushalmi, it's even clearer that the drasha is these two things that are attached, that are integrated, and you have to be able to distinguish between them. Meaning, it sounds like
The difference between white and blue.
right, not just white and blue in general. The white and blue in it, in the tzitzis. Asamuch lezel. Umaytam elazar item otok nikar ben atzuim. Right, and that's his drasha, that it should be recognizable between the colors. Right, so it sounds like there's a good reason to believe that's what that presumably is where the Rama gets it from. Now, if you look at the Itzer in number 8. Mitzavua garim atu min Kenaf at savua kapid yaruk lavan abetal shel kominei tzavodim mitzvah lahaktim lavan kidiktani bebraitzed the min Kenaf lavani bechol talitot fisharumun estaman lavanim velo kaptu at tzvia el kolhech lekalavan kidarin lekaman talit in poter ba elamina vehech dikalavan kodem bechol at talitot. So the Itzer doesn't go quite as far as the Rama, but he says the following. Let's say you have a beged with multiple colors, one of which is white, then you always put white. So, again, he doesn't say you should always do white, but what does he say? This is like halfway towards the Rama, which is to say that white is still the primary definition. So if there's any white in the beged, then the white overpowers. It's not saying that if there's no white, that you
Should put white.
that you have to put white, or that you can or must put white. But he's saying it's a mitzvah lahaktim lavan. So again, you see the Itzer is not as strong as the Rama, but conceptually it's similar. That the status, white has a unique status. Right? The Rama seems to say it has the only status. The Itzer says it has at least a status of precedence over other colors. Rov Rishonim, we didn't believe that. Okay, so that is the Rama. And that's really the basics of the lamdas. I want to make a few halachic points and so you know some practical things, and that's what we're going to do. Here, there's a few more lamdish points that come along the halacha, but let's go through it, okay? So, just because you guys were asking how does it plays out halacha l'maisa, so let's see how it plays out. So if you look at Mishnah Berurah 9, first he quotes both positions, both Rashi and Tosfot. So we saw this is a good chazara. According to Rashi and the Rambam, why do you put in the color of the beged? It's a chiyuv midin min Kenaf. According to Tosfot, if you put in the same color, why do you have to do it?
Hider mitzvah.
Hider mitzvah. So that's the first thing Mishnah Berurah says. Mitzvah talit mishum ze'i livan veyu. Right? Clearly, which one does he give precedence to? His first svar is Tosfot, that it's just a hider mitzvah. Just Eder mitzvah. V'yesh mefarshim mishum debinan bazem mimen Kenaf. And some say no, it's more fundamental that the color of the beged and the tzitzit have to be the same. Af b'vagadim tzvuim. But now he says, and this is what I mentioned before. The Mishnah Berurah says, let's assume you hold like the Ramah. Now remember, the Ramah, no Rishon explicitly says what the Ramah says. The answer comes the closest. So how are you going to both be makbid like the Ramah to have white, and be makbid like Rashi to have min Kenaf?
Both.
Have white.
Have a white beged. Right? Right. That's what the Mishnah Berurah says. He says, "Mikom makam royal medaktik." If someone wants to be careful, laso davkar ban kan v'rotalat katan lavan. K'dei sheyitzei hakol kshiasa tzitzit lavanim gam mishum tichsev ulevushay ketelek chiyur. So he says two things. First of all, why should you wear a white beged? As a chumrah. We don't make her in paskin like the Ramah, but
You fulfill all opinions by
Holds a
doing
primary
so.
status.
correct. But then he gives a second svara, which is maybe, right, according to the Ramah, there's a din in a white string. Is there any din in a white beged? No. But he quotes the Bach, who says maybe there's also a din, that there's a din, at least for your talis maybe, that there should be, that the beged, there's a din in having white.
Purity.
Right? That white is holy, white is pure.
Purity.
And now he says, okay, now he makes another halachic point. Okay? Let's assume that you want to paskin min Kenaf. So how many of your begadim are fully white? Your talis katan, how many of your talis katans are fully white?
All
No, you have black. Right, you have the black. You have the black there. The black ones. How about talitot?
This one.
In general,
Black.
so I happen to have white. And people ask me, "Oh, what white? You Sephardi?" And I'm like, "No,
My dad does white also.
I'm just like I like it. I don't think these are like a super strong minhag. I happen to like all white."
My brother got
But the Ashkenaz, that's like white and white. But the Ashkenazi minhag, or many Ashkenazim have the minhag too. So the Mishnah Berurah just says, "Don't worry about it," because clearly,
mitzvahs on the strings.
clearly mitzvahs on the ikr. That even if you want to be makbid to put a white beged, so you have white strings. Our talitot are 98%, right? Even the ones with the strings, right? Now there are some which are not like that, right?
Yeah,
It would go
color
against the
ones.
minhag,
Some of the ones here are like rainbow color.
right? Like the rainbow color. Now even some of them have rainbow stripes. That's still probably mostly white,
Right.
but some of them, there's always
I've
that
seen
one
like
guy in shul. And like I know in Staten Island, that one guy who had like intense, the entire beged is black
I think we
or
have
purple.
blue ones.
I've seen the blue and purple ones.
Right, blue and purple, whatever. So that is already going to, is it usher? No. Mikra din, the Shulchan Aruch says it's fine. But does it go against the minhag? Yeah, maybe it goes against the minhag. I don't know how worked up I am about it, but it goes against it. But he says, don't worry about the stripes. He said, the Mishnah Berurah said that which the minhag was, the black was, in some of them it's blue, which is maybe more the minhag, right? To do it like chelet, don't worry about it. Right, that's what we mean by white. The chumrah to have white is have rove white. Right, rove white. Okay. Machzeh Shekel says, "No din adam acher mitam v'alach v'drachav lidamot elav yidbrach." Now this is quite striking. He says, "I think there's another reason to wear white beged, and that is, and this is very striking. I don't know what it right." He explains the Bach that the Bach that God's clothing, so to speak, are described in Nevuah as being like white like snow. So you could have just said that means it's pure, but he takes it very literally, which is maybe the reason you should wear a white beged is it's v'halachta b'drachav. It's imitating God. I really have no idea what that means. I find it very
thing on like Pesach or Yom Kippur. Where
so there we
imitate
like
angels.
angelic, yeah. But this is sort of weird to say that we dafka should have a white beged because then you're like God. It could be that's what the Bach really meant. But that's what he writes. And he said, how do you get this? Now again, this might only be by talis, right? Because if you look from Machzeh Shekel, it's clear that what he's talking about is, because he gets it, the Gemara in Rosh Hashanah has a mashal, has an image that when Hashem said to Yugum Midor Arachamim,
Mitatef betalit.
right, mitatef betalit, he put on the talis and he was a chazan, and he taught Moshe how to daven using the Yud Gimel Midot. Right, that's the way the Gemara Rosh Hashanah describes it. Don't get into the theological anthropomorphic problems right now. It's a mashal, okay? So he says, "Vayavor Hashem panav Amar Rabbi Yochanan ilmalei mikra katuv yafshar lo omro." And the pasuk not said it, we couldn't have said it. It means that God wrapped himself up in a talit like a chazan. And God said, if you follow this, I will forgive you. Lavan. And then the reason you would need the same color is because it's beautiful. But so this is another level up, right? Which is that there's this tradition from the Bach, which some of the Achronim like, which is not only should the tzitzis be white, but that there's this added thing that at least the talis, because of this the midrash in the Gemara Rosh Hashanah, you should have the beged also be white, at least the talis. I assume it's more talis than talis katan, right? Because they're talking about what's it called? Because they're talking about the mashal of God davening, so for the amulet. If you look at the Shari Tshuva in 11, he writes that Ayin Be'er V'im Yom Shel Shlomo Reish V'Amoch Ein Lasot Talit Gadol Mitzvah Yarok L'Chod Yom Tov. You shouldn't make a green talis for Kavod Yom Tov. I don't know why people did this. Whatever, people do it. El Kasher Nagu B'Talit Lavan V'Avta Katan Yish Makpidin Lavka Lavanim V'Yish Lonok Shel Lasot Shum Tfira B'Talit Rav B'Chutim Lavanim V'Chen Atar She'Osam Mala Ein Lasot Lo Midavar Lavan. So the Mishnah Brura had said that there's no problem with making the stripes of a different color. But the Shari Tshuva actually argues. The Shari Tshuva says that l'chatchila, what should you do? Have completely white beged, no stripes of any other color. He says not even a stitch, right? No stitches. The entire thing should be white, which is a very, very machmir. Shita here, again, is this necessary? No. But again, so you have Shita, you have, within Min Kenaf, you have the people who say, it doesn't matter what color the strings are, the Rashba. It should be the same color, really has to be the same color as the Beged, because of Min Kenaf, Rashi Rambam. It should be, because it's more beautiful, but it's not Ma'akev, that's Tosfos. Then there's the Ramah, who says that the string should dafka be
white.
Lovan. Because possibly there seems to be a chalos of Lovan based on the Kriya Shema Sugyot. Then there's the Itur, who's slightly more mild, which is, if it's multiple colors, then white wins out, because it has a premier status. Then you have the question, okay, so how do I deal with this in terms of the Beged? So you have those who say, it really doesn't matter. You have the Mishnah Brura says, look, you should be machmir to have a white Beged, so that you can be Yotze both Rashi and the Ramah, that it's Min Kenaf, and that you have white strings, because if you have a white Beged, everyone will agree that the strings can and should be white. Right. Then you have, but the Mishnah Brura says, but I don't go as far as saying the entire Beged has to be white, it can be mostly white. The Shari Tshuva says, no, it needs to be completely white. And this brings us to that next shita, which is that it's not just about the strings, that in addition to all the chumras of the strings, there's pashas, there's no din in the beged, but at least when it comes to a talis gadol, the Bach and the Machter Shekel seem to say no, because we have these midrashim that describe God as wearing white, at least in the context of davening. So maybe not only is there a din in the tzitzis, but there's a din in the beged being white. Now this is already a big chiddush, because as we know, does the beged have kedusha? No, the beged is just a beged. There's clothing. Right? That you happen to have to be chayv and tzitzis, but at least when it comes to talis, they treat it as having this status, and they suggest having white again.
We're saying we should have white because it fulfills all opinions. So in that case, shouldn't we just have an all-white beged just in case we fulfill all opinions?
Well, that's what Shai Tshuva says. Mishnah Brura says you're Yotzei everything anyways. Mishnah Brura says Yotzei anyways. If it's 90% white, you have some stripes, big deal, right? The Shai Tshuva takes it deeper and says,
right, so to fill
white means, so you want to be Yotzei that, so then have a fully white talis, which is what I have. Not per se, because I'm so worked up about the Shai Tshuva, I like it. But yes, I'm machmir. Like I'm machmir, that's why I'm doing it. Yes, I have so many chumras, I don't need this to be my chumrah. I have so many wonderful chumras. This is like...
Rabbi, should I be wearing a talis? Oh. I mean, I did my research on it, and the reason why Ashkenazim don't wear talis until they're married is stupid, but... does that mean...
You said that on record. I just want you to know.
It's stupid.
It's your next chabura.
Thank you, Daniel.
No, there's no chabura on it. There's no chabura on it. It's one opinion by the Magen Avraham, and that's it.
But
it's not very good.
Some of the Yakis do wear it, and some don't. Like we don't.
Yeah, Yakis wear it, but
so
Magen Avraham brings like his own chiddush from like.
Okay, Magen Avraham is not a nobody, but
but like he doesn't.
Look,
have, like,
it is.
Right.
It is indeed a.
It's a stretch.
Yeah, it's one of the. If I remember correctly, Simon in his book on minhagim, he has 5 test cases, and one of them is this, where he writes like many pages on this minhag. It's not the most compelling of minhagim that has ever been introduced, if you are completely convinced you should wear a talis, then I would say go ahead, but probably, talk to your parents before, because I don't need any parents yelling at me. You told them to change our minhag, right? This is not a halacha question. This is like, as a teacher in a school, I don't want anyone yelling at me, right? I didn't tell you to do it. I didn't tell you not to do it. If you're really convinced you should do it, so then you should do it. And talk to your parents and tell them why you're convinced and see if they have a problem. If they're really, really worked up about it, don't do it, right? If they're like, you want to do it? Okay, sounds good to me. Then sounds good to me too. I don't care. I'm not someone who gets very worked up about these things. There are people in this world who get very worked up about these things. I'm not.
Right.
I get worked up about other things, not this. But you can give that as the second part of your chabura. Mention in your chabura tomorrow, Tuesday. Tuesday. We are waiting with bated breath for your chabura. We are very excited. It's
Better be good.
yeah. I feel like we've been talking about this for like weeks.
Yeah.
So
It has been weeks.
It's here. Okay, good. A nice little summary of some more of the issues. Look at the Piskei Teshuvot. In general, if you want to know every possible variant of like these minhagim as they appear in Hasidic sources, a good place to go is the Piskei Teshuvot. He knows all this stuff and he quotes it. So I gave you a little summary. He writes, Yesh Omrim shezarach lasot et tzitzit mitzvah tali. Rama v'ashkenazim nogin lasot et tzitzit rak levanim avgam tvuim shemoneh-esrei. It's not really close to what shemoneh-esrei said, but okay. V'od muva b'shem shemoneh-esrei. Shem ma'ater talito b'meshi tzavua kachol ke'eh zikron l'tchaylet. He said the shemoneh-esrei had this minhag to put little like decorations of light blue on his tzitzit. Why? Zecher l'tchaylet. Until today, he said that's where the black comes from, because black is, sort of like blue.
Okay. I mean, in the dark. Yeah.
Sure. I mean, this is what the poskim say. But he says, the Sfaradim don't have this minhag without stripes. Is that what you have, Yosef?
What, my...
Yeah.
Black stripe.
Like I said, I have it also. As you know, I don't get so worked about these minhag things. I like white, and people are like, "Oh, you can do white, and you're Sephardi." No, I just.
That's only white.
Yes, I'm machmer like the shari children.
I like one with black.
Okay, so you like blue, so put in blue. I don't care.
Yeah, white.
And he said, but this comes from Alpia Rodachidob Shemar Shalva. We don't lahakvid al kach shekei nachon al pitor lenistar. So there are these Sephardi poskim who are really into it for Kabbalistic reasons, because it invokes God's mercy and kapara. Sure, I don't know. Could be.
It's to have the black is what this...
No, to only have white. It invokes kapara and something.
It's like waving chickens over your head.
Okay.
White chicken.
And he says, "V'talit shenaaseh ke'ein maret sahov o afor machmat yoshen v'zeh ein kveida." This is just a point we should make. He says, when your talis has yellowed or grayed because of sweat and age,
Oh boy.
right? Don't worry about it. He said, look, if it's been in min Kenaf, don't worry about it, because it's still white, it's dirty. But he said, if the whole din was what? Ze'eli van Veyu, at some point, probably get a new talis. Okay? This is not a very lumdish point, I just figured I should make this point. He says at some point, he said, it's just not v'chavadik. You're going to davening, and your talis that was once a bright white is now, rotted, like rotted teeth yellow.
It's like, like when you open up a siddur and it has like kiddush things, like it gives that feeling.
So
this has been used.
See, I have one friend who's exactly like him. I have one friend who he didn't like. Like I like new svarim that are in nice print that I can read with footnotes that add sources. Like the nice Minchas Chinuch. And he was like, "No, I want to use my grandfather's from 1850 that's yellow and in tiny print that you can't read because it feels authentic." I'm like, feels like you're gonna go blind when you're trying to read that.
If it's a newer version, then fine. But if it's the same version, just getting a new book, like
good. So there are people. Good. So there's the Daniels of the world. There's the Daniels of the world who think that
That's the best.
The mahadrin is to have the yellow thing that was used. It's imbued with the kedusha of experience.
No, it's really feeling the Masorah that was.
The Messiah is passed down to the schwitz that is now embedded in the talis, and then there are people like me who are like, ew. You know, I'm with other Daniel on this. Okay, but fine.
But like a sitter, like my dad wants me to use his own.
And then he brings. I honestly, I just thought this biscuit was like very cute. Anyways, like whatever. And he says, "Va'afilu nitazon ishpach dalidot tzitziot mashket savo adio." And he said, you know, sometimes. You're at your tal, you know, you're at the kiddush, and there's exactly as you say, there's a grape juice stain, a cholent stain on the talis, on the tzitzis.
You're doing Abdullah.
And he says sometimes you can never get it off. It's like stained, like the mahadrin.
Why are you wearing a talis by Abdullah?
He says, "Enkpei bekach medina." The kosher bracha mitzvah. He said, "Look, meikar adin, is it kosher?
Yes.
It's kosher. But again, he said, "Rak mitzad zeli vanvei nachal lader al chevetz mitzvah shemechubot muhudar remuhudar." He says, but you know, there comes a point where midin, it should be nice. Yesh ladun, you should think about the fact that, you know, how many children stains do you have on that packet already? Maybe don't wear it at the kiddush. Maybe that's the lesson.
No, you have to wear it at the kiddush just to get stains on it.
Let's say your kid comes home at the end of the year with his sitter from school, and there's no ripped page, there's no stains or anything. It would be like he never used it. If he comes home with like ripped pages,
or it means that your child is careful. And civilized.
Children aren't careful. That's awful.
That's already
Maybe you're children because you're still all of Tanakh already. But
you think I'm like totally
most
like,
kids are not that careful.
Yeah.
With
I tell my kids to be careful with my svarim. Yes, I don't get as annoyed because like the chumash,
they got from their
the chumash that they borrowed from me that I kept in good condition since I had it when I was a little kid. You know. So yes, now some of them are falling apart. But Nechanami, that is because my kids have like their harusa every morning that they set up amongst themselves, and like at 6 a.m. So like
your kids.
My kids, Meir set up a chavrus with Aaron at 6 a.m. in Pnei Halacha, and they make siyumim on sections of halacha because they have Pnei Halacha them. So Meir teaches it to them.
How old are they?
6 and 4.
Only in the gush, by the way.
And they,
no.
by the way, nothing to do with it. Meir just decided one day that that's what they're doing. So after they finish breakfast, Meir takes Aaron to the room. They sit on the couch. They learn a page of Pnei Halacha, and they make a siyum every time they finish a section
At 6 a.m.
6:30 before school.
Wow.
So yeah, my chumashim are falling a little bit apart, but like now Meir has insisted in Aaron sometimes also on coming to Hashkama at shul, and he davens, and then he goes to the parsha, does reviews at 6:45.
Your kid's going to be giving the parsha here at the age of.
Please God. Okay, amen. Ken Yiratza.
Chief Rabbi of Israel.
Why should I curse him on such a thing? Okay.
I think when they say the age of Kenaf is at the age of 7, I think these are exceptions, that they're like the age of 4.
The one thing he just notes in the guys, one thing he just notes in the footnote is that there, and I've seen people who do this, who during the week they'll have like the white talis with the stripe, but on Shabbos they'll have just white, because al pi Kabbalah, Shabbos and white is like very, very
chashuv. People do that for like Yom Kippur,
or just to be
What's the metal like?
I hate it. Oh my god!
Not just the metal.
Not like halachic.
hate their mitzvah.
Not just that. I know it's hit or mitzvah. To me,
people.
it's so heavy. It's so heavy. It's
But
uncomfortable.
it stays on you.
So
Chabad actually doesn't do that at all.
So uncomfortable.
Chabad says you're not supposed to have. You know, like a talis, you on the top you have like that part that you know is the top of the talis. So Chabad doesn't have it at all. They say you're not supposed to like have that at all.
Is there a purpose to having that portion that signifies that's where it goes around your neck? Like not necessarily metal, but you see.
Well,
that.
Yes, you know where
it's the equivalent of this side up side.
Yeah, that's what it is. Okay. One more point. And like I said, if you're really interested in all the shittot, you can look at the Beis Yosef at the end. But that we've said basically most of it either inside or outside. But this is the full summary of all the Rishonim. But we're not looking at it now. We're not. I gave it to you if you want to look at it. But last point.
Why does the Beis Yosef always have like massive paragraphs?
Because it's an encyclopedia. It's an encyclopedia.
But it's not like a little line.
No, it's an encyclopedia. That's
like
why. It's an encyclopedia. That's what it is. Okay, last point. We mentioned we were doing. I still have to upload one of the shirim. I haven't done it. When we did the modern tchelet thing, so we noted that many people point out, what do you lose if you put on tchelet? So,
nothing.
Rabbi Elyashiv.
Depends on what it is.
Good. So Rabbi Elyashiv, what was Rabbi Elyashiv's argument? Rabbi Elyashiv's argument against it is.
It's white. It's just.
What do you think it is? I gave you the English summary.
It's supposed to mimic tchelis if it's not actually.
No, so that there are many
we're
reasons,
not sure what's in
but
one.
based on the shig you're in, what do you think? One of the critiques is
Oh, it's not.
You
the
have
color
that
of the
white
cloth.
strings.
that if you want to be mocked with like Rashi, that it has to be midin habeged.
Then it's not.
So then, if it's not the real tchelet, so then you're changing the color. Good. So, give me two responses to that.
Have a blue stripe.
1 second. So,
The strings
we
don't
don't
always.
follow
They
that.
don't.
so one is that maker then we don't pass like that. The Shulchan Aruch says it's a chumrah. But if the question is, should we be machmer like Rashi, and Shulchan Aruch says maker then we don't pass like that, and it's a possibility of being yotzei mitzvah d'oraisa of tchelet, so nish kefer lach. Okay, fine. But there's a better reason, and that's on the Chazon Ish. What's a better reason? That the obviously Rabbi Elyashiv is not correct. B'mechila kvod tarato.
But the beged's based on the other strings, not the two.
Correct! Ma pitom. The halacha of Lavan is on which strings? That the Lavan has to be min Kenaf. The ones that are white, that are the Lavan. But there was never a halacha, a pam, that all 4 strings should be the same color as the beged. How do I know?
Because it doesn't.
Because a normal beged was supposed to be Lavan plus tchelet. And what about a beged shekulo tchelet? What's the halacha? You're supposed to put something else lechatchila, so there's contrast. Which means there was never a halacha that all 4 should be. To the extent that the halacha of min kenaf exists, it exists to what? The strings that are lavan. But the whole point is here, I'm having lavan plus tchelet, and there's no din of tchelet and lavan. What Rabbi Elyashiv would have to argue is that if you're not sure that something's tchelet, so memela, all the strings are kilu lavan, and those have to be the same color as the beged. But that's very hard, misvara.
Right.
Because really, clearly, to the extent that min kenaf exists, there was never a halacha that all the strings would be the same as the beged. Obviously not. Because there was tchelet. So you can't tell me don't put tchelet because you'd be violating min kenaf. You think God didn't know that? You think God didn't know that when he instituted tchelet? It's a din in the lavan. It's never a din that all the strings have to have it. So if you want to just see it inside, this is Rabbi Leibowitz's point from this Chazon Ish here, number 15. He says, Talit in Poder Lamina, Perish Rashi, the Shnechute Lavan Shichan Leot Mitzvah Talit. He said, Rashi says, what does it mean, Min Kenaf? That the white strings have to be the color of the beged. V'chein das HaRambam. V'nira de'ein nafkuta ben yesh lo tchelet lein lo tchelet. And he says, there is no difference if you have or don't have tchelet. Meaning, what is Rabbi Elyashiv going to have to say? That if you have tchelet, so tchelet overrides the din of Min Kenaf. But if you don't, then everything has to be white. That's clearly what Rabbi Elyashiv thinks. But the Chazon Ish thinks, what are you talking about? Right? Pashtus is that to the extent that min kanaf exists, what Rashi says is that min kanaf, midin color, is true only of the lavan.
No, but you can. You can
This halacha was always a din in those strings that are midin lavan, and everything else.
You can argue that if it's not tchelis, that becomes a lavan, and now you have.
So again, you could say that. That's clearly what Rabbi Elyashiv thinks. But the Chazon Ish says Pashtus not, because the whole drasha is clearly only on the strings that are lavan. And to be fair, as we'll see,
he's saying lavan literally.
The strings that are midin lavan, meaning not the tchelet strings.
So, but
and
if
we'll see,
if that color's not tchelis, then those become lavan strings.
So that's what Elyashiv is going to think. But we'll see that in Psak is very unclear, because we'll see this in the Sugi of Kardumen. That Rabbeinu Tam thinks that the halachic way that you look at our strings are the lavan strings and the non-chelet strings, the replacement strings. But the Rabbeinu Tam is very clear, and I want you to keep this in mind when we get there, that it's not that Bisman has said that if you don't hold of tchelet, or the modern tchelet, that you have kulo lavan. It's that nowadays you have the lavan strings and you have the strings that replace the tchelet that are not tchelet. But that's how Rabbeinu Tam conceptualizes it. Chazon Ish is completely correct in that sense. Again, I understand what Rabbi Elyashiv is saying. Rabbi Elyashiv will argue, no, once you don't have tchelet, everything becomes lavan. But Pashtus in the Rishonim, and the Chazon Ish is a very good point. In the Diuk and Rashi, the din in Min Kanaf was only ever a din in lavan. To be fair, that's true even of material. Because, as we'll see, right, it's also of material. Because tchelet always has to be what? Tchelet always has to be on wool.
Right.
That's why it's a heter from kilayim, because even if you have a linen beged, the tchelet is midin, right? Is wool, which tells you that even
Does shabbos apply?
no, that's the Gzeres HaKosov.
So you could have a linen beged with a wool string.
Yes, we'll get to that. That's what the Gemara says. We have a Gzeres HaKosov that you can have a linen beged with
It's
wool.
not woven together.
No,
literally
that it's a Gzeres HaKosov that tzitzis is overrized shatnez.
Oh, okay.
So
it's
you
not
can
like-
have a linen beged. No, we're going to get to the sugyas later on. But therefore, even the halacha of min kenaf, not just of color but of material, doesn't apply to tchelet. I mean, tchelet is a din of tchelet. It's a chalos. It's a separate category, a separate halachic status. And he says, it doesn't matter whether it's wool, it doesn't matter whether it's linen. The chayvan, the kra, the kara la tzitz akanaf, hainu tzeva akanaf, hakol bechlal. You davka shnei, because he says min kanaf, it has to be part of the corner. He says miu davka shnei chutin atzrichan v'tzeva a beged, but only two strings or three, however many you paskin, right? 2, 3, whatever. But if I put white, sorry, I don't have tchelet, I put 4 white, 2 of them, again, he's following Rabbeinu Tam, that is 2 and 2. So he says, 2 of them are midin lavan, so they need to be white, and 2 of them are not midin lavan, so they can be any color. Urayim achtabarach v'gamara. Lo ye'ela lavan meet the chol chudin zicham iminatalit b'tzivanim kain b'sadan lavan ein kan tzitir ukvar heavy smag ra'elu l'tchot Rashi etc. V'im kain muchach meet b'gemara dein tzarach klal b'lavan seva shel atalit. Perish Rashi chiluk b'shnei chutin shel lavan v'shnei chutin savan dachat chelet. And therefore, I think the main response to Rabbi Yashiv is not just. I mean, there's 2 central responses. One is what Nate said, which is that Maker Adin, we don't paskin that way. We're machmir for it. The second is what the Chazon Ish says, is that the whole din is only on the strings that are midin lava, not the ones that midin tchelet. Again, the only potential problem would be if you're makbid, if you, let's say, follow Shechter and do what Rashi and Tosfos say, and have 2 tchelet and 2 lavan, and it turns out that really the Ravid is right, or the Rambam is right, so then you have 2 strings that should have been white, or 3 strings that should have been white that are now blue, right? So that's where you could have a critique, right? Is that, if you're makbid to have 4, right, 2 which is 4, which is blue, and really you only need 2, so then you have 2 strings that should have been white that are now blue. But again, I don't know how big of a deal that is as things go, but that's, I guess, where you could have a critique, but fundamentally I think the Chazon Ish sounds like he's obviously correct, and Rabbi Yashiv is really a chiddush in that way. Again, the lumdus that Rabbi Yashiv will say is that without chelet, they all turn into lavan essentially, but again, that I'm not sure that's true, and we'll see that in Sugi of Gardumin, Rabbeinu Tam clearly assumes that it's not the case, and that has halachic nafkaminas, as we will see. Okay?